Hey guys, Romie Reviews here. Please like, comment, subscribe. And this is what's going on. Kanye West. We're seeing, I have so many views and standpoints, so let's just start this off with Kanye. His good music is back. John Taylor's putting out new music in June. So is Pusha T. Kanye West is executive producer of all of this. He's also has a mini album with Kid Cudi, and he has his own personal album, all coming out between the end of May and all of June. And while that happens, he magically reappears on social media, preferably Twitter, because that was his go-to, and that still is his go-to. And he's doing the most, and it's a culmination of things. First thing is that I'm just keeping it real. I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, I'm not going to listen to Kanye's music anymore. I still am. I'm still going to listen to the music that he produces. I'm still going to listen to his own. I'm going to look at him like he's a nut, but I still am. So now I can only a little bit see how, some other people view some other people who do certain things and still technically support them one way or the other when it comes to their actual product. Yeah. I don't care. I'm still listening. What matters most, though, is I'm not one of these fans that acts like he pees gold. I'm not one of those people. Kanye West has recently called himself this generation's, as in, I don't know which generation. I don't know if it's the newest an upcoming generation or my generation, the millennials, or I don't know. But he's saying that he's this generation's Walt Disney. Okay. But when we go back, things have definitely changed for Kanye. Kanye, and I don't care what anyone else says, he's never been the same ever since his mom died. Ever since Kanye's mom died, Kanye, in my opinion, has fully gone off the rails. He's always been about self in one way or the other. He talks about how he's one of these minds that is able to, he has interest in a lot of things. And so that's why even when it comes to people who have opposing opinions, or maybe not necessarily the popular opinion, his mind goes to seeing, okay, how can I correlate my own thoughts, views, and opinions with theirs, or what do I see myself within them? My issue is, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. But he, and his reasoning, says that what he does, he's the same person that said that George Bush does not like black people. We rallied for him when he said that because of how Katrina was being handled, and even the years afterwards. He's the same person who gave us college dropout and graduation. And so, but we did not really accept the fact that Kanye has always been about, for, and will continue to be about, for, and Kanye West is the type of person that he's definitely egotistical. We already knew that. But it always shows whenever he has his breakdowns, like when he was talking about the whole new slave thing. Why did that actually come about? The main reason was, even though part of it made sense about us being mentally enslaved to corporations and their products and just promoting them and making them bigger and all of that. But you have to dial it back and say, what was going on with Kanye at that time? Kanye wanted to get into fashion. He didn't just see himself as a rapper anymore. Honestly, he never just saw himself as a rapper. And that's the thing that maybe people didn't understand. Kanye never saw himself as a rapper. And when you don't just see yourself as one thing, you get really confused and frustrated when you're trying to do these other things, and people, even though they want to make you the face of their brand to make them more money than they'll ever make you more money, but won't extend a helping hand when you want to go and do it yourself. That's how it is. Unfortunately, that's called business. Now, it does get worse when we're talking about diversity and racism and all of that. That definitely plays a part in it. But Kanye, when he was trying to convince us about certain things, he wanted to get into fashion. There was a large barrier of entry for him. And so then he wanted us to rally for him. And what he said what he didn't said was he went with established brands like Adidas, for example, and other corporations that gave him equity and more stake and more control, which is smart, which is great. The problem is the clothing that he came at. The sneakers are cool. The sneakers are cool. I have no issues with the sneakers. It's with everything else that I'm partially side-eyeing. Kanye, like I said, like many people, he's a person of circumstance. And when you're a person of circumstance, of course he's going to be talking about the black oppression, the black struggle, when that's what he grew up in. As soon as you start making money and things start to change, it makes sense to me as well that his way of thinking or what he's focusing on, the things that bother him or frustrate him, changed. So he went from being the really woke, outspoken rapper who talked about, struggle and we need to see ourselves a certain way and all of that, to the now it's before even 808s and Heartbreaks. It was like between 808s and Heartbreaks and My Twisted Dark Fantasy. No, My Dark Twisted Fantasy, something like that, whatever. Where we see that Kanye definitely was embracing what he was already showing us, where it wasn't just about the us, or we'll say minorities and minority struggle. Now he has rich people problems and rich people goals, and because he's black, he can attach, the fact that yes, there are some people who didn't want to do certain things with him because they saw him as, oh, that rapper, oh, the black rapper, oh, we can't take him seriously. But my main problem is we fast forward to now where clearly he's not catering to the minority group that helped him expand. And once you get a certain size, that's what normally happens. So this isn't just on Kanye. There's a lot of artists where their music or maybe their style or their products change because now that you have people with more disposable income that are willing to spend money on you, that's who you're going to make the stuff for. The clothes that he's making, $200, $300, $400, $60 for socks, that's not for the minorities. Now, yes, the minority groups here in the U.S. have definitely come up financially, but let's be very clear, it's still smaller than the majority, which was what we call the Caucasian, the white side, that has had time to amass more of a disposable income or be able to go and pay for all this and that. And if Kanye somewhere in the near future talks about how those jelly slides, those tragic gusher looking sandals, I guess was what we're going to call them, if he's saying that a lot of his clothing itself was a social experiment and look at what people are willing to pay for just because of the person who wears it. And because I can see him going and doing stuff, he kind of talked that way before, but I can really see him going saying, oh yeah, I sold that stuff and made the money off it because people were willing to buy it. It was just trying to show you guys that, hey, people don't really know what's good or not. It's about what you tell them. I can see him going and flipping it. What I'm trying to figure out is this whole 45th, because that's what we call him over here, 45th president stuff. We saw him with 45th, and then he was on tour, and then he was, we thought he was mentally ill, so that's why the tour ended, and he was upset because after his wife got arrested, Jay-Z didn't call him, and I already knew that Kanye must have been on some mess if Jay-Z was purposely, and I'm sure some of his other friends kind of backed away, and now I fully get it. I didn't need an explanation, but now that Kanye's already given us an explanation through his words and through his Twitter, I get it. Kanye, he doesn't see the 45th president as just a, he doesn't really look at the person and his actions. He's on Twitter, he was like, I don't agree with all of his actions, but I think he likes his personality, or at least the energy that he gives off. And I said, what? That's even worse. So then that confirmed to me that I said, okay, Kanye, all right, Kanye. He reinforced it again when he was supporting this Owens woman who is essentially the leader of the black, almost alt-right crew. And it's crazy. Kanye West talks about how, you know, out of the 8 years that President Obama has been around, what he did for Chicago. And immediately I thought of, well, didn't he run a program there that was supposed to aid in, I don't know if it was after school stuff, but it was something akin to that, so that the kids could have something, so that they're not just out there in the streets. And then the 45th went and rolled all that stuff back, or at least got the process started to roll all that stuff back as soon as he went in. And aside from the other things, and that kind of segues to my other issue, where people felt like because President Obama was black, that he had to go and cater to the minority group, cater to the black, cater to women, cater to the reality is he was still the president of everyone. And it's crazy that the other side of the country who despised him felt like he didn't do anything to help or support them, even though he did, just by not doing, you know, really pushing forward certain programs that on paper couldn't show that it was helpful to everyone. And that caused a big division within the own Democratic Party. Then we have Kanye West's friends who are chiming in. I feel like people have to remember that John Legend is under Good Music. I think he still is under Good Music. So even John Legend had to jump in. It was like, just because you're friends with someone doesn't mean that you have to support their thoughts, views, and opinions. And essentially, I do not. He even reached out to Kanye like, look, I love you. We're going to have to agree to disagree, but maybe all of your thoughts, views, and opinions, especially on something as divisive as that, just needs to be expressed. Kanye went, screenshot it, put it on Instagram. I mean, put it on Twitter. And then it kind of reminded me of when the whole Taylor Swift thing. Now, if we dial it back to when the VMAs and Kanye West got on there and took the mic from Taylor Swift, we were all like, wow, Kanye, even though we felt like Beyonce should have gotten that award too, for you to do that. And then it was the whole thing of, but you don't do that to men. You don't go and grandstand on men because you know the type of reaction you'll get, type of thing. So we were like, oh, it's a punk. And then, you know, our thoughts, views, and opinions on Taylor Swift as a person formed differently. So then we were like, okay, we're back with you, Kanye. We never left anywhere, but now we can see how maybe she's a little shady over there. And then the video recording, and even though I was here for the video recording, because you're not going to call someone a liar. That's not what you're going to do. It also, in the back of my mind, made me feel like, so is this the type of person Kanye is? It started to make me think, so what does he have on people? That was the thing that also kind of circulated, but I said that could be anyone, so that's not a big deal. But I'm just irked, irritated, because this guy, like I said, I think one of the problems is because he's black, because he gained power and influence, us black people felt like he was a voice in the community, and because he was saying a lot of pro-black stuff, I think people gave him too much power. Then other minority groups like, yeah, go against the man. Essentially what they kind of saw Kanye West as. You go against the man, you go against the norm. But I think people kind of forget that that was the outward persona that he wanted to show us. Just like how he's showing us his other side at a time when albums are supposed to come out, at a time when we see that there's clearly a lot more support for people with personalities like that than ever before in our country. And how Eminem, he pissed off a lot of white people / other people. He really did, with his rhetoric with going against Trump. Obviously, it wasn't just white people who voted for Trump, but that was the grand majority. And because of that, now we have this stance of, Eminem, I'm sure his album sales will have been different. I'm sure his support, forget how good the album was or not, I'm sure his support for that album will have been different if he didn't go that route. Shout out to him for standing up for what he believed in, but I really think that Kanye believes what he's saying, fully believes what he's saying. And back to the whole mental illness, we know Kanye, definitely, that's definitely there, that's definitely true, that's definitely a problem. But we also found out that Kanye, he actually had an opioid problem. So he was in rehab, not for mental illness per se, but more so to kick the opioid habit. And I said, wow, I said, now that makes sense, but it's just wow, because sometimes when you see someone, they always act a certain way, you never really think, oh, well, that's because of drugs. For a lot of people, you do, but for someone like Kanye, because he's been consistently acting like this, I didn't even think about drugs. I didn't think about like drugs, like opioid level, something like that. Well, again, what are my thoughts, views, and opinions? We can't just go and blindly cheer for people who look like us, sound like us, put all of our faith and love and support into them, and be devastated when they show us another side to them. I think that's the biggest lesson here. I'm sure I'll have some of Kanye's tweets, you know, either on this side or this side, so that you can see some of the foolishness. I'll probably put a couple of the clothes so that you can see that. Again, I feel like the clothes are a social experiment of, I can't believe people actually bought this. People actually bought these clothes because I told them that it was cool. I told them it was a new thing, and I made millions off of it, regardless of how much I spent to do it. Let's see. I feel like, was there anything else? So we touched on the difference between after his mom went. Kim Kardashian. Honestly, I think it's a cop-out to go at the Kardashian family and say this is their fault, because Kanye has been like this before the Kardashians. He actually looked like he was slowing down for a moment when he got with Kim, because let's just call it what it is. Kanye saw that Jay got married and it was to Beyonce, and so Kanye wanted his own version of like Beyonce, and I really think he's infatuated with Kim, so that's great for them. Apparently the Kardashian clan and Jenner clan, they unfollowed Kanye. I don't know if that's still in effect, but I mean, that makes sense, because even Kim, even though she said, no, I don't agree with everything her husband says, and that's the thing, and Chrissy Teigen got into it, not like into it, but Chrissy Teigen was clearly showing that, look, we're still friends, her and Kim, so it is what it is there. Quick, two other things, because I'm here. Bill Cosby, after all the shenanigans, after him allegedly barking while in the courts, which we didn't see the video yet, after the hey, 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 one day when he was leaving the courts, after all the quaaludes, after the already admitting to a certain degree, being too grown to know better, trying to go after a national network. I mean, Bill Cosby, no, Cliff Huxtable was a national treasure. It wasn't Bill Cosby, it was Cliff Huxtable, because I always side-eyed when Bill Cosby was going extra hard at like hip-hop or the hip-hop look and feel, because it kind of irks me when I hear black people, especially black people in power, kind of go and say, well, you have to look this way, you have to dress this way, you have to talk the way how, let's say, I talk, in order for you to be successful. So that's why I'm really proud of people like Cardi B, really proud of people like Rihanna, like obviously love Beyonce, appreciate Jay-Z, appreciate all of them, because they did it in the non-traditional way and they're now successful, and it proves people who rant on them like that. And Bill Cosby has been throwing his weight around in the industry for so long that this is also why people aren't supporting him. Not only have they heard these stories and details, worked with people who were affected by this, they also had to deal with, Bill Cosby was the type of person where if you wanted your stuff shut down, he made one call and it was done. You said anything negative about him, period, and it was shut down. Now, so he was found guilty on all counts of, what was it, inappropriate sexual assault or something like that, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to pass before potential jail time. I don't know if they're going to try to appeal it. I don't know. I'm just glad that, because we know it. In our hearts, we know that it was wrong. It's wrong to do stuff like that. And he admitted that he did stuff like that. It's the issue, I think, was more so if it was all these women. My thing is, one is enough. That's how my stance is. Now, trying to figure out what's going to happen to R. Kelly, because R. Kelly's been doing foolery for years, and we know that there's foolery. Maybe the issue is that they overall consented. That was a problem. Maybe the statute of limitation. I don't know. It's just crazy. he's like 50 at this point and still doing certain shenanigans. Come on now. Well, it's more than just shenanigans. Let me not go and just say that lightly. So Harvey Weinstein, people have been talking about what he's been doing for years, but potential charges, or at least this amount, haven't happened yet. And shout out to social media for really putting a light under people and getting some people out of here, but also ringing the common sense bell for others. And that's where I'm going to leave off, because actually, no, forget that. Look, I gotta go to work, so that's where we're leaving off for now. I want to talk about something else, but I like to usually let these stories develop a little bit more before I go and just give my full opinion. Please like, comment, subscribe. I do this every week. What do you think about everything that I talked about with Kanye and Bill Cosby?